How about now? Can you hear me now? Is this better? How about now? We goody goody? Let's see. I'm checking the chat right now. Sorry about that, guys. I'm checking the chat again to see if they can hear me. All right, good. We good. All right. Wow, we Peter 747, Sin A, Lane Johnston, Donnie, Sin A, Lane Johnston. Hey guys, what's going on? I really want to get your opinions on the off season. You know, a lot of times, you know, you check out social media and you never really get to hear your voice, get your voice heard. But I really am interested in hearing what listeners want from this team. And, you know, what you're looking for. Because I know, you know, it goes back and forth. You know, the whole Jameis Winston argument, I get both sides of it. For me, it's about this team going to the playoffs. I mean, that's more important to me than who's under center. Because before Jameis Winston, I was a Bucs fan. You know, way before, you know, before Trent Dilfer, you know, I can go all the way back. You know, that's it just, you know, whoever's under center, if they give you the best opportunity to win, I would rather be talking about. And Donnie hit me up. Okay, so I'm gonna get to that in just a minute. Me personally, I like Jameis Winston. I'd like to see him a second year and see what he could do. Only because I believe in Bruce Arians. I think that they've got some things cooking, and they've got some really good people in place that can really help this team. I'm really curious to see what's going to happen in the draft. I think that's going to be a big part of it. Free agency is possibly an even bigger part of it. So again, we're going to have to wait and see how everything unfolds. I'm not going to be all in my feelings if they move on from Jameis and go with somebody else. But at the end of the day, I would like to see what he can do his second season with this team. Now, you've all heard me say it. Jameis Winston, to me, sometimes he's a blessing and a curse. I've seen him ball out and just play out of his mind, and you look at this guy and you see superstar potential. Then other times I've seen him make plays and I'm like, wow, you know, what were you thinking? But at the end of the day, you know, he's the best quarterback the Bucs have ever had. And I'll go on record saying that. I mean, statistically and just what he's been able to do, he's that guy, you know. So if they feel like they need to move on from him, they do. If they don't, they don't. But I would love to see him play. I'd love to see what he can do one more year. That's just me. New uniforms. Yeah, that's what's up, man. I'm really curious. What do you guys think about this, the new uniforms? As far as the draft goes, and I don't want to sound like this is a cop-out or anything like that, but I always, you know, the past 3-4 years, I've tended to wait and see what they do in free agency before I really like dig into the draft, because there are guys out there that can help this team. I think free agency is going to be decent. I think you're going to get some players where you can upgrade in certain positions. And, you know, again, I think that, you know, what Jason Light did last year has been very underrated. You go in and you bring in a Shaq Barrett, and we saw what Shaq Barrett did. You bring in an Ndamukong Suh, and you see what he did. And then, you know, with the draft, you drafted Devin White. I would have to say that the general manager this past season did pretty good. And I think Cam Akers could be sneaky good in the third round, and we should give Winston one more year in the offense. Lane, I'm right there with you. That's kind of where I'm at. But again, like I said, you know, if it doesn't go, it just doesn't go. Do you feel the eye surgery could help him? Hey, that's a possibility. Here's a guy that, hey, Cali Buck, what's going on? What up, Gene? Whoever a quarterback, Jameis Winston for life. Yeah, we'll see, man. I'm looking at some of these other quarterbacks. What do you think about these other quarterbacks that are out here in free agency? I just don't see any quarterback coming in and just making an instant impact. I don't know if I'm just unsure about it. As a Mississippi guy, I would love to have Cam Akers. There you go. I like what I've seen from him. And, this is a guy that would definitely, he's somebody I feel like his skill set will translate to the NFL wherever he goes. So there is that. Sin A is talking about offensive line help. Yeah. So, what are you guys' thoughts on DeMar Dotson possibly being re-signed? Is that a possibility, or what do you think? Is that something that would help this team, or do you try to upgrade? Do you try to upgrade along the offensive line in certain in key positions? Um, there are some offensive linemen out there that are available in free agency that there's gonna be a hefty price tag on some of these guys. So it's definitely something to keep in mind as well. I'm going through I'm waiting to see who we re-sign or pick up in free agency, then go to the draft. That's exactly what I'm thinking of. Dotson is a backup. And that's what I'm saying. Do you try to upgrade it at positions like that? Another guy, that it's kind of gone back and forth, but Ndamukong Suh, do you try to bring him back? I know that he wants to come back based on, what Adam Schefter has said. He wants to come back to Tampa. Is that a move that, you bring him in and just kind of keep him in there, for depth or what have you? I say we move off Dot and look at Conklin from Tennessee. Jack Conklin, yeah, a guy, and I think there's a guy that can make a difference instantly. So yeah, most definitely. But you do want to get somebody who's consistent in there, and you don't want to make a lateral move. You want somebody who's better than what you had before. They should get some XFL players. I'm loving the XFL. To be honest, I know we're all over the road here. I'm just kind of going along with what's in the chat. I love the XFL. I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit later on. I definitely want to, because I will be throwing shade at the NFL referees, just watching how these refs are calling these games and the transparency that you're seeing. So, Peter is saying, Peter747, if we keep Suh and not kill ourselves in the process, then we should keep him. I want to see them keep Nassib as well. Resign Dotson for depth. I think that would be a good move. I think Ndamukong Suh has been good for the locker room. I like his mentality, and I just like what he's brought to the Bucs, as a player. Another guy, JPP, I think has been very influential on that line, as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. Just how businesslike and how he comes in and goes to work and does what he needs to do. I mean, this guy had a horrific injury, came back from that injury, and he was real solid. Hey, what's going on? Cannon Fire Podcast. But yeah, I would say there's not a problem with re-signing re-signing Dotson for depth. That's not a far gone. It's not something that couldn't happen. Just like JPP, I think he brings a lot to the team. Okay, well, this is interesting. Donnie, so would you rather keep Cameron Brate, or would you look at O.J. Howard? Which one would you say has the bigger upside? I mean, just based on what we've seen as far as play. I mean, if you look at game film, who would you say has more of an upside? Who would be more beneficial in helping his team? I'd rather keep JPP versus Nassib. Again, JPP has shown, like I said, from coming down from a horrific injury and coming in and being able to play. I think it's great, man. It would be great to see him. It kind of depends on how much money. How much money is Nassib asking for? Is he somebody that you definitely want to try to re-sign him? So it looks like everybody in the chat is good with O.J. Howard. Sine is saying Brate is more productive than O.J. Howard. I would say this, that Brate has been a lot more healthy than O.J. Howard has been. He's been a little bit more consistent as far as catching, and I don't know. I kind of get what you're saying. He's younger. He's got this upside. He's got physical tools. I'm just waiting to see that translate. So, who knows? But again, Cameron Brate, has a huge contract. So, I get what people are saying, talking about wanting to trade him. So we'll see what happens here. I'm gonna go back through the chat here and see if I'm missing anything. Dotson for depth. NASA. Yeah, so I kind of want to get back to the uniforms. I know people have been that's been a source of contention since the uniforms were rolled out to begin with. Uh, ASJ had all the physical tools also. OJ has better yards after the catch, but the drops. Break catches the ball, but then falls to the ground. But he is consistent. I don't know. The cap, I think it's 125. Let me look it up real quick. I was thinking they were at like a 125. Let's see. I'm pulling up Sports Track real quick. Because I know what they were. After last year, I knew there was going to be a big jump in cap room this year. So let's see. And Mike Evans, dead cap. I have a lot of dead money, it looks like. Yep, 125. 125 is when they adjust everything. So yeah, so they're gonna make some move. They're gonna make some moves. And yeah, 84,989,175 in space. Total with the top 51 is 125. So yeah, they've got money to make moves. It's just, are they Perryman? I don't see how you can keep Perryman. Perryman is a similar situation to Adam Humphries last year. I know we saw some good things from him on the back end of the season, and he finally looks like that first round pick that the Ravens had. But I think it has a lot to do with chemistry with the quarterback, because when he was in Cleveland, he didn't look near as good as he did with Tampa. When he was with the Ravens, he couldn't stay healthy. And then when he was healthy, he still didn't look as good as he did with Tampa. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they do with him. But again, when he, on the back end of the season, when him and Jameis Winston developed that chemistry, you really saw a good plays from him on the back end of the season. And Will the Brewer, that's a very interesting point, and I like that. Tight ends weren't used as much as they could have been. Brate's salary is pretty steep. So, yeah, to that point, I could see where you could possibly move on from him and have that, and have that relief, cap relief. Yeah, tall FL guy. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Perryman's going to get paid wherever he goes. And I just... and I'm not being biased here, but I just don't think he's going to have the productivity he had while he was here. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Antoine Cates, perfect scenario. Tua gets drafted by the Redskins, and we get Dwayne Haskins. Just a feeling. He would the perfect quarterback in our system. Let's see. Sin A is saying draft Pittman Jr. to replace Perryman. I hope B. Mitchell can come back and light up the preseason. Yeah, guys, this is going to be, and we have a celebrity in our midst, Shooter from Shooter in the Stash. I don't know if you've seen some of his animation, best animation as far as NFL goes, and NHL hockey. If you're in NHL hockey, this would be the guy you would check out here. The Shooter here, he's always taking shots at me for some unknown reason. We've got this internet beef on Twitter, but I respect his work. I don't respect him as a person, but I do respect his work. So there's that. But just kind of I want to make sure I'm not missing anything here. We only have yeah, there's a certain icon that I have, and it's of me in one of his cartoons, and I've decided to keep it for myself. So there's been hints of lawsuits because I'm using these images of his unlawfully. Once again, you avoid the kicking situation, which you always neglect on this show. I don't know. I don't really. I don't know. I don't care. I'd rather talk about the quarterback or something that matters. If this was like XFL, the kicking situation wouldn't be that much. Donnie Sellers, Peyton Barber, I think you could upgrade. I think you can upgrade at the running back position. And I think that would probably be the move you would make. I love what Peyton Barber was able to do, but I do believe there are players out there that can do a little bit more than what we've seen. That's the sole reason the Bucs haven't made the playoffs in so long is the kicking game. Well, I don't know about all that, but yeah, I'll this is a safe place. You can believe that. So, Shooter, am I to understand that you're not a Matt Gay fan? Then you would rather move on from Matt Gay and get somebody else in here. I really hope we move away from Barber and find something in the draft. Peter, that's it's kind of what I was saying. Again, Peyton Barber, undrafted free agent. What he was able to do was great within the offenses that he worked in. But if you're wanting to make this team better, you definitely want to upgrade at the running back position. Do we upgrade the training staff to help with hamstring injuries? I think a lot of that is technique. More than training, the training staff, a lot of that is technique because of the way you run. And I know, like when my son was playing football, one of the guys over at Shutdown U, where Darrell Rivas rehabbed at, he was actually working out with my son, and that's kind of what he was talking about. It's more technique, how you're running, when you're getting a lot of these injuries, and that's kind of what I've seen, because I've seen some guys that they have that trainer that comes in and helps them with technique, how you're running, and you're not overextending yourself, and you see some players that just don't get those types of injuries, but then you have other players that do. So. Again, I understand what you're saying with the training staff, but I think a lot more has to do with how you're running and when you're making those cuts and that kind of thing. So, that's kind of my 2 cents on it. Shooter in the stash, over the past 10 years, if the Bucs had a good kicker, they would have won. Oh my God, this guy, we would have won 368 more games. Really, guy? Okay. So I'm going to try to get him on next week. I don't know if we're going to get him on animation or what, but I would really like to get his thoughts. I know that he's one of those guys that's, not for Jameis Winston staying around. He wants to change the quarterback situation and move on. And again, this is a safe place. There's no wrong answers here. If that's how you feel about it, that's what you're seeing. I was thinking about this yesterday. I don't know if you guys remember who was the quarterback for San Francisco. And he went to Kansas City. I can't think of his name. He was like really, really bad until Jim Harbaugh came on. Alex Smith. Alex Smith was the quarterback that you were like, okay, he is who he is. And I don't know what happened with coaching or whatever, but he was able to fix his game. And he had a pretty good career while he was on the back end in San Francisco. And then when he went to Kansas City, I thought he did better than I would have expected him to do. So I think change is possible. Who knows? It was a lot. Miller, Evans, Godwin all had hamstring injuries. And yeah, you're right. Yeah, they all did. I mean, Mike Evans has had issues with hamstrings since his rookie year, I believe. I think when his rookie season, he was out for preseason with a hamstring injury, and then off and on he would run into those hamstring injuries. Throughout his career, he's had those problems. Chris Godwin, again, you saw that this year, and hopefully that's something that they can work on and get that corrected. So, Andy Dalton, no, he's. I think you might as well stick with Jameis Winston if you're looking at Andy Dalton. But, that's just my personal opinion here. But guys, this was kind of unprepared. I wasn't really expecting to say a whole lot or do a whole lot on here tonight. I will be more prepared. I really am starting. The combines are over, and it's time to really start focusing on free agency and looking to see who's going to make these moves. And I'll really start digging into that a little bit more. And next week I'll have a little bit more content for you guys. But I definitely wanted to jump in here and get in the chat, get your thoughts on things, and just get an idea of what you guys are thinking. With the season going on, are there any free agents out there that you guys are really interested? I heard Jack Conklin's name mentioned. Anybody else? Andy Dalton as a possibility, but anybody else or any specific position you see where the Bucks could bring somebody in who could actually do some things to help them out? All right, so yeah, I'm looking in the chat here. Yep. Hey, what's going on, Ken F? Yeah, so again, there's not a whole lot going on right now. I think once free agency kicks off, how are you doing, man? How's everything going? Once free agency kicks off, I think this is when you'll really get to, we'll really have some content. We'll have some things to talk about. I'm not one of those people that really likes, guessing or this is what I think is going to happen, because I'm always dead wrong. So I'd rather talk about, okay, this is who they have and this is how they, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. A good running back. Again, you upgrade over Peyton Barber, and, you've really helped this team out a lot. I still love, our other running backs. And, I just think that Peyton Barber, I think you can upgrade at that position. And then, you have a running back by committee that may look a little bit better, and they may alleviate a little bit of the pressure that the starting quarterback may have to deal with. Yep, just ready for the ride to come, hoping for the best. I'm right there with you. But again, the offseason kind of sucks. And Ken says, I say the Bucs should try to get Teddy Bridgewater. What? And Ken, let me ask you this. What do you see in Teddy Bridgewater that he would put this team in a better position to win? Just out of curiosity. And again, there's no wrong answers here. I appreciate that you have a different opinion than so many other people. And I'm really curious to see, hey, this is kind of what I'm thinking and why I think this would work. I mean, I saw what he was able to do with the Saints, and again, he played good. I thought he was a good quarterback that worked out good with the wide receiver core and the running game that they had, so that worked out good. But again, like I said, tonight I was just wanting to kind of get in the chat and hear what you guys had to say. And the GM said, Triple Bar, the GM said that they are hot for Teddy. So yeah, there we go. So there's a couple other people that are looking for Teddy Bridgewater to come in here. Is that based on how consistent he is? Is that kind of what you're looking for? A quarterback that can kind of control the game a little bit better? Or, I mean, when you're looking at him, I mean, what is it about Teddy that, makes him a good fit for here in Tampa? Let's see. Anonymous GM report from the Atlantic. Oh, I can honestly tell you, anonymous GMs really annoy me. I look at some of the other quarterbacks that have come into the NFL that have had their draft stock, where GMs have been trashing them and, hey, they're not that good or something like that. And, if you're going to say something about another player, why not put your name on it? Put your stamp on it and, let people know who you are that's saying this. I think you should own, if you say something like that, you should kind of own it. So again, we'll see what happens. Ken F, basically he will not cost $30 million. He'll take care of the ball, and the Bucs can invest in our defense even more. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's the case. I think he's asking for. I'm gonna actually look at that too, because I was thinking he was asking for about that, just based on the season he had with the Saints. So, as you can tell, I'm not prepared. So, but I don't care. I was thinking that Teddy was commanding a little bit more than that. Yep, retirement, because they were saying what Andrew Luck's. I mean, right now you're looking at 27, according to Saints Wire, which I know some of the writers there. They're talking about average pay is around $27.975 million right now. So he's right in that ballpark, and just based on his the way he's played, I could see him commanding even more money. That's why I was, it's interesting that you would say that. I think he's right in there, right? Just to be honest, just because of his play. And you have to respect a guy like this who had a catastrophic injury like he had, and to come back and play at the level that he's playing at, it's astonishing to me. I would really love to have known what he could do without playing injury free. I would love to have seen what he would have been capable of doing. So there's that. But anyway, guys, I know I've been on. I'll probably stay on for a few more minutes because I know you guys are all doing your thing. I really don't have a lot to talk about. I was just kind of going by what's going on in the chat. The Bucs said that they are keeping an eye on Ryan Tannehill. Do you think Ryan Tannehill could come in here and play? There is nothing that Teddy makes outstanding. He's just average. Triple Bar is saying he's just an average quarterback. All right. The Bucs said that they're keeping an eye on Ryan Tannehill. So that's kind of. I'm gonna research that. So I tell you what, guys. I left a post at the top. I want to get some of you listeners on the podcast. I really do, and I'm really gonna make an effort for that. If you're not following me on Twitter, hit me up on Twitter and just DM me and say, hey, next week when you go on, I want to come on with you. I can get 2 or 3 of you guys on at a time, and we can just talk. We can talk football. We can talk as long as you want to talk. I want to give you guys a voice, like I was saying, there are some other podcasts out there, and they're all great podcasts. Everybody's got their own thing going on. But the reason I started doing this originally was because I didn't have a voice and I wanted a voice. And, the more I've thought about it, there are people that don't like our GM. There are people that don't like Jason Light, and, they want to be able to talk about it. There are people that don't like our quarterback, and they want to be able to talk about this. I want this to be a safe zone where you could talk about whatever you want to without being criticized or attacked or anything like that. I want you to be able to do that. So all I'm asking you guys, if you're listening and you're checking me out, if you're following me on Twitter, hit me up on Twitter. I think you have to have a PC, maybe a PC or iPhone, one of the two. Hit me up on Twitter and say, hey, Gene, I know you're starting to get the show back on and you're going to try to get on regular. I want to get on with you. Let me know. I'll get you on, and you guys will be the co-host for the evening, and we can answer some of the questions in the chat together. I think it will be fun. I think it would be better than listening to me ramble on for forever and ever. So I think that would definitely work out. But anyway, let's see, Victor Astro. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, and if not, like I said, man, if you guys are following me, hit me up at Buc What You Heard. Look for me on Buc What You Heard on Twitter, and follow me if you're interested in doing this, because next week I will have one of our listeners on, and it'll be better than the content this week. This show was fun, but we'll see. Let's see. There's some interesting conversation going on here. There's nothing that makes Teddy Bridgewater outstanding. He's just average. Will the Brewer, Tannehill would probably be a decent option. Bridgewater's a bit cautious. Teddy will not throw 4 INTs a game. Maybe 280 no picks, 3 TDs. You're crazy. He does not have the arm. The podcast live stream environment is great. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I don't know. To be honest, if you guys go back to some of my podcasts, I actually wanted Teddy Bridgewater to come to Tampa during that year's draft. I thought that he would have been a good fit at the time, and I thought he would have been able to do some things. So very intelligent quarterback. Looking at what he did in with the Saints, I look at the offense that the Bucs have. I think he could definitely do a whole lot more, especially if they can get a running back in there. I think that will whoever's under center. If there is an improvement in the running back position, they're going to have a good season, barring injuries. I think they'll really have a good season. So I love it. And guys, I want to shout out to all you guys. Eric, what's going on? Shout out to all you guys, because you guys are being respectful. You guys are having a great conversation. Nobody's trashing anybody else. Hey, this is what I think. You can respectfully disagree. This is great. This is what makes it fun compared to some of your other outlets like Facebook or some of your other outlets. So I don't know. And Eric comes in. Tom Brady. No, Tom Brady's not coming to Tampa. Sorry, Eric. I understand what you're saying. No, he's not coming to Tampa. Teddy Bridgewater. That was the conversation before you walked in, man. We were talking about Teddy Bridgewater. So if you get a chance, watch this again and let's see what happens. Triple bar. The Bucs are keeping OJ Howard. Yeah, he was a first round pick. He was was number 19, I believe. And somebody made the point that the tight end position was not utilized like what we've seen with the previous head coach. So I could see that. I could see where you could trade one of our tight ends and get something out of it and actually benefit from that move. OJ right now is a hell of a blocker. He is a physical tight end. I just wonder if you're using him in blocking schemes to help out your offensive line, if that's a big portion of it. Byron Moore, what's going on? Andy Dalton, it's funny when you look at quarterbacks that have been in the league for over 4 years, they are who they are. And I just wonder how much coaching up can you really do with somebody, when it comes to them playing the way they play and changing some of the habits that they have. When I look at Andy Dalton is who he is. So I don't know. I think, do you keep him? Do you draft a quarterback? I mean, or do you keep Winston or you draft a quarterback? I just wonder how much more upside does Dalton have over a Jameis Winston, to be very honest. So I don't know. Matthew Stafford. Here is another guy, big arm. Guy has a huge arm. And, I'm sure that eventually it could happen this year. It could be that situation where Detroit pulls a trigger, but we don't know what's going to happen here. Anna Rivera, trade Cam and free up $7 million. You know what? You're the fourth person that said that, Anna. You're absolutely right. That's a possibility. And as we were talking about this, I mentioned this. The tight end position hasn't been utilized with this coaching staff like it has been with the previous coaching staff, where a tight end is a very, very big focal point of the offense. So it would be interesting to see how that would work out. While Stafford to the Bucs would be surprising. You know what? Anything can happen. I'm not a GM. I'm not an insider. I just like talking football. I just like talking it, and that's just what I do. I don't know. Are you guys following the XFL any? I love the fact that we have football right now. We can actually, if we wanted to, talk football. I hate the head coach for the Vipers, but and we could talk that situation. Eric Hardnett could see, could the Bucs get Big Ben? No. I don't think Big Ben's coming to Tampa. I don't see that happening. The Vipers, I've been kind of following them a little bit. The Seattle Dragons games, there you go, man. Their crowds are crazy. But, you kind of got to, I'm sticking with the Vipers. I want to see what they do. Hopefully I'll get rid of this head coach, Trestman, and, get somebody else because, I'm not real big on him. But, again, it is one of those things. As I was talking about, I alluded to earlier in the show, I was kind of talking about the XFL. The one thing that I really like about the XFL right now is the refs, the referees, the officiating. The officiating right now in the XFL games is better than what it is in the NFL games. Hey, Rex Dillon, what's happening, man? I need some of that barbecue, bro. I need you to hook up a brisket. The officiating has been this is the first season in a long time where the majority of the games I've watched, I haven't been mad at the officials. I've been more mad at coaches or players or something like that. I haven't really been mad about the coaches or anything like that. Got questions if Jameis Winston, that's 50-50 right there. It's a possibility he could come back. I could see that happening. What's the price point do we have to re-sign Sue and JPP at? Let's see. I've been lazy this offseason. I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't been following like I normally. I haven't been up on stuff this offseason, and it all started when I came back from vacation. I just been kind of off a little bit. Like I said, I'll be digging in a little bit more. $8 million. So $8 million for JPP, or is that for Sue? Rex Dillon saying $8 million. What's the price point for Shaq? And then look what he comes up with. He comes up with times pi. Really? Shooter? Really? This guy here, man. I mean, Shaq probably $16 million. I really believe that they do get the Shaq Barrett deal done. I think he will be a Buccaneer this year. If you guys follow me last year, I was excited to have Shaq Barrett. I was excited to have Shaq Barrett in free agency. I thought Jason Light, that was a great move by Jason Light, and we saw that paid dividends, and we could see that in the season. So again, it's a possibility that the Bucs could franchise Shaq Barrett. I would love to see. I would actually love to see them. With Shaq Barrett, I'd love to see them sign him long term, because I really believe that he's been playing behind some great players, and he's a great player himself. And I think you're going to see more of the same this year. Shaq said he's willing to take less money if he needed to. Yeah. Again, we don't know because we're not there with what they're negotiating with. I think the deal is going to get done. Trust me. Franchise is cheaper for Shaq than Winston. Yeah, because, with being a quarterback. Yeah. Will the Brewer. And guys, I'm going to jump off here in just a few, but I did want to let you know, as I was mentioning before, I will be getting the listeners, anybody who's listening, anybody who's following me on Twitter. If you got a computer, you got a cell phone or whatever, hit me up. I'm going to get you on. I'm going to get you on here so I can get your thoughts. I'd love to co-host with some of the listeners. I've had a couple of you on before, and I would like to try that again. But yeah, follow me on Twitter. Hit me up on Twitter. Once again, that's at Buc What You Heard. Get me up, hit me up, and next Wednesday, I will have one of the listeners on here, and we will be talking live about football, and I'll be a little bit more on point. Want to shout out everybody: Eric Hardnett, Will the Brewer, Ken F, Peter 747, Anna E Rivera, Shooter in the Stash, the great Shooter in the Stash, Rex Dillon, Byron Moore, Triple Bar, Cameron D, You're probably the most nicest, humblest. Hey, Cameron D, thank you for that. I do this, as I mentioned before in here, I know I'm going to go out on a tangent again. You guys need a voice. You pay money, you spend your time watching this team, following this team. Why shouldn't you have a voice to, when you're frustrated or, hey, I think the Bucs are going to do this. I think it's great that you guys can come in here and we can all have a civil conversation about a team that we all love. Ultimately, for me, it's about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going to the playoffs and winning games in the playoffs. I mean, I understand getting the right players in place, getting the right pieces in place, but that all has to translate onto the field. At the end of the day, when the season's about to be over, I would rather be talking about who the Bucs are going to play next over who the Bucs are going to draft next. That's how I'm kind of looking at things right now. And I have expectations that the Buccaneers, they've got to do better. They've got to get into the playoffs. I mean, it's ideal right now. You're looking at an Atlanta Falcons team that I really believe that the Bucs have more talent than, and I think they could go in and win. Carolina, another squad that I think Tampa, just based on the level of talent that they have, Tampa could come in and really do some things. The Saints are a team that, they've been continuously winning. I think the Bucs are in a position right now that they can do some things. So that's where my expectations are right now, is that the Bucs can win some games. The Bucs can do some things. So, I love it, man. And, I love what you guys are saying. I think it's great. All right. If we can win the South, we can play this play. And, if we can win the South, and that's kind of what I was looking at. And, they're adding another game in the playoffs. I don't know, participation trophy or whatever. And it's potentially it's possible the Bucs could get that. Could actually get into playoffs this year. I know 2016, if this format was in place in 2016, the Bucs would have been in the playoffs. Crazy, huh? But Anthony Rivera, you're right, and that's kind of how I see it. I think that Tampa is in a really good position right now. If you lock down some positions right now, and there you go, Will the Brewers, stop beating yourself. That's what it all comes down to. There have been plays that just, I don't know. You just kind of just scratch your head on it. Can the Bucs host the Super Bowl? Hey, and guys, I will be in Tampa for the Super Bowl. I will also be, if anybody's going to the draft in April, I will be at the draft. Let me know. I'll be on here a lot more. But let me know if you guys are interested in hanging out, for the draft. There are going to be, Bucs Nation is going to be heavy in Las Vegas. Trust and believe that. The Bucaholics are going to have a show. They're going to put on a show. They will be there. And we're going to be loud. We're going to be loud just like everywhere we go. So it's just going to be, it's something to see, Joe. So keep checking us out here. And stay in touch, and you'll see what's getting ready to happen. I think it's going to be fun. But again, for the Super Bowl, I will be in Tampa. I plan on catching at least 3 games this year. With my work schedule and everything. So it'll definitely be fun. Again, I want to try to make this a trend. I do want to get a lot of the listeners, as many listeners as I can, to come on and just kind of give your opinion. I would love that, man. I think that'll be great. What about the Vegas game? I will be going to the Vegas game as well. Rex Dillon, he's the captain of the Arizona chapter of the Bucaholics, and they will definitely. I'll be staying in touch with him and let you guys know some of the things that are going on. So it's gonna be great, man. It really will. Check out the new Toilet Bowl Stadium that they have in Vegas and see what that's all about. Nothing beats a pirate ship in your stadium. Just FYI for that. But anyway, that's pretty much it for me. I've run my mouth enough, and I really appreciate you guys taking time to stop and listen. Next week, I will be on Wednesday next week, and we'll be talking more Bucs football. I'll have a little bit more information. I will actually be giving you a lineup of the free agents that I would like to see Tampa have. if you guys want to, just come up with some other players that you would like to see the Bucs have, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Just look next week. We will have one of the listeners on, and we're going to have some fun with this. So, Shooter in a Stash. I think I prefer it when you only have an episode once every other month. A Shooter in a Stash. When is your podcast for NHL hockey? I think you need to go in a penalty box. But let everybody know, about that. The Lightning are alive and well. I know a lot of people have lost hope in them. I see the Lightning going to the playoffs, regardless of what other people think. So, we the Thunder. Yeah. I think I'll co-host on that, and I'm sure it'll be entertaining as well. I've pretty much invited myself, Shooter. All right, guys, everybody.